Hello and welcome to Football League World TV. We're back with our latest instalment of the Fan Debate Show. Today I'm joined by Ian Robertson and Dylan Bhundia, Luton Town fans, and we're going to take a look at the January transfer window. But just quickly, both, how are you doing after last night's victory?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was a good win, back to back, which was I think mentally quite important for us. Still riding off the euphoria of the weekend. I think we played well, controlled the game, and didn't really need to get out of too many gears. But yeah, it's good.
How about you, Dylan?
Yeah, really happy. Reading looked really poor, and as Ian said, we never really got out of second gear, really positive to follow up a great win on the weekend against Bournemouth.
Successive victories, as Ian alluded to there, something that's been very, very rare at Kenilworth Road this season. And what we're going to do today is we're going to cast our eyes over the January transfer window, something that Luton haven't really picked up on quite as of yet. And I know we'll get onto it, but there hasn't been a need to so far. Any Luton fans out there, make sure to get your comments in. Any questions that you may have for Ian and Dylan, make sure to fire away. We're live for the next 25 minutes on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, so make sure you do get involved if you do have any questions. First of all, lads, we'll speak about Christian Walton, player we were linked with from Alan Nixon of The Sun, said that we were battling away with Ipswich. It seemed that wages were always going to be a stumbling block for Luton, and he has eventually joined Ipswich. So is this one that you're happy with avoided, or do you feel that in terms of the goalkeeper's situation at the club, do you feel that that's an area that perhaps needs targeting?
I think that obviously we've got two solid keepers at the moment. Sluga has had a couple of little dips in form, but he's kept quite a lot of clean sheets this season. And then obviously Shea's come in and done fantastic. He's been really solid. I think everyone seems really comfortable around Shea. I don't think it was the first on my list to add another goalkeeper. Obviously, we've had him in the past and he was great. I don't think he's been pulling up trees in his recent loans, to be honest. And obviously, like you say, wages are a little bit of a stumbling block. Obviously, he's good friends with Nathan, isn't he? And I think, I can't remember if I'm right in thinking this, but a recent interview, Nathan said he wasn't looking at bringing him in. So I don't know how much foundation there was to him actually coming back, whether it was just rumours or not. But I think he's got a good move to Ipswich, and I'm glad he's got a club now where he's not being loaned out all the time. So I think that's good for him. And I'm not too concerned as long as we tie up Sluga's contract, I think.
And Dylan, coming to you, because last year in January, Nathan Jones made a claim that if Walton was available and it made sense, he'd love to sign him again. Do you think we'll see an end to those Walton rumours, or is that going to be something that continues to circle as long as his playing career goes on?
No, I don't think we'll ever see the end to that. It's just it's a natural link that will always come about because of Nathan's Brighton connections, because of how well he did for us in League Two. He was absolutely fantastic until he got recalled. But no, I don't think so. And I think in this window, it's difficult because we've already got two very good senior goalkeepers in the squad. So I don't think it would make much sense for us to bring Walton in now to have three keepers competing. And we probably don't have the budget for that anyway. So yeah, as you say, we probably won't ever see the end to those rumours. But I think our goalkeeping department is very strong at the minute. But obviously it's very difficult to read into the contract situations of especially Sluga and whether his deal's coming up to an end at the end of the season, which I think there's a bit of uncertainty about.
And Ian, coming back to you, one player that we have been quite heavily linked with is Elliot Anderson, the Athletic, claiming that a deal was close to come in. Nathan Jones then confirming that there's truth in those rumours, but perhaps the deal was a little bit further away from happening than first expected. So would you agree that adding an attacking midfielder, a player with a lot of promise like Elliot Anderson, could be a good bit of business this January transfer window?
I definitely think he'd be a great addition. I think we need something temporary to fix a a tiny gap we've got in midfield, really, in that creativity. Although we've just got Luke Berry come back, and we've seen Campbell just turn that form at the moment from settling in and now started to produce something on a regular basis. I mean, looking at reports and looking at his stats, he'd be a nice little addition. And if he's anything like Dewsbury Hall, it'd be a fantastic addition. But I do think we could do with like a temporary midfielder solution, because I just think we're a little bit tad low in numbers. If we have an injury or two, then we could be in a little bit of bother. I think that's what's hampered our consistency so far this season, is just the gaps we've had in midfield between the defence and attack, obviously. Yeah, I think it'd be a good addition, but I'm not going to be too fussed if we miss out on him. I think we've got enough players in that department, but just missing something temporary there, I think.
Yeah, as Ian is saying there, Dylan, Berry, I know you're a big Berry fan. He's obviously coming back to full fitness again. We've seen Jordan Clark fill that creative role, as Ian said there. Alan Campbell as well, starting to have more influence on the top end of the pitch. So in your eyes, I forgot his name there again. Is Elliot Anderson a kind of player that you could see coming to Kenilworth Road and sort of setting the Championship alight, as Newcastle fans seem to expect?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because I think with the way we're playing at the minute, I feel like we have decent enough numbers in there. Of course, you could always do with one more. But my worry is that we get Elliot Anderson in as a kind of 10/ someone who can play 8 in a 4-3-3, and someone like Mendes Gomez, who can play in that 10 role, gets sidelined a little bit. We've already got Jordan Clark in there. We've got Luke Berry in there, and then we've got Campbell, Pelly, and Henry Lansbury kind of rotating in the holding too. So I'm honestly not sure. I mean, obviously Elliot Anderson is a very talented young player, but in terms of thinking about us in the long term, would that benefit us moving forward? I'm not sure it would, unless there was a genuine possibility that we could sign him permanently in the summer, which, given how highly rated he is by Newcastle and the fact that Newcastle potentially could go down, I'm not sure that there is that possibility. And then that could harm the guys that we have got in the building in terms of their minutes and their ability to develop, especially someone like Carlos. So it's a tricky one, because he's obviously a good player, and he would help us in the short term. But in the long term, I'm not sure whether that would benefit us, as we've seen with Dewsbury Hall and having to fill that hole in the summer. How do we fill the Elliot Anderson hole, or the potential Elliot Anderson hole that could arise in the summer if he comes in and plays really well?
And Ian, before we look at the other end of things, before we look to potential outgoings, if any, is there any areas on the pitch at the moment that you feel that Luton could strengthen in? I mean, you look at sort of both the wing-back areas, Kioso coming back in. If he ends up going back to Milton Keynes Dons, then we don't know. Is that going to be enough to continue operating with one right wing-back in Bree? I know Jones has before said that Jordan Clark can operate there, but whether he actually can, I think, is another story. In terms of left wing back as well, you'd probably view Amari Bell as that one out and out left wing back. So would the wing backs be an area of concern for you, or is there anything that you might add to that?
I wouldn't say that I'm concerned, but I think that Jones always talks about if we able to significantly improve any areas. I think the two areas, like you say, the wing backs, I think predominantly left back, I think Potts' time could be up. I think he deserves to be playing football at his age as well. I think we need an adequate replacement that's a little bit more athletic, a little bit more quality than what Potts has got. I don't know if he's coming to the end of his time. So I know obviously Naismith can fill in there, but he's doing well where he is. So I think it's adding a little bit of quality down that side. There's a small question mark over Kioso, isn't there? He's not proven it at Championship level. He's done well at the levels he's been at. He did all right last night, although it wasn't a fantastic test. I think the only area I'd like to improve is the midfield. Really, I think we need one more body that's in centre midfield for me, that can enter both sides of the pitch and carry the ball. I know Campbell's doing well in that respect at the moment, but I think that's just that area, that just a commanding midfielder that with a little bit of toughness and experience. I think that's what we're missing at the moment. That's the only thing. We've seen too many games this season where we've lost it in midfield, and I think if we get someone like that, I think that'll significantly improve us.
And Dylan, coming to you, are you on sort of the same line of thinking as Ian there, or do you have any other areas that Luton could do with strengthening up if the playoffs is a serious ambition this year?
I think it's about opportunity to improve, really. As Nathan Jones always says, it's can we get someone in who's better or different to what we've already got. That being said, I do think that if Amari Bell picks up an injury, then we are in a bit of trouble on that left side. I know Cal Naismith was brought to the club as someone who can be versatile and play along that left, all down that left side. However, Cal is playing so in that back three. We don't want to move him from there because he's so important to us. So if an opportunity does come up for a left wing back, then I think we should take it. And whether that option is better or different, why not have an option where we can develop, like a bit like a Kioso, who's obviously not quite at championship level yet, but someone that we can develop in there. I think that's something that we could consider because there's a few good ones in League Two at the minute. But overall, I'm happy with the squad. I think the forward line looks good. I think the midfield is okay. I think if we can get one more in there, then let's do it. But I think with left wing back, we can do with more of a depth option in through the middle. I think if something comes up that is too good to turn down, we go with that. The back three, that's absolutely fine. You want some continuity in there. So overall, I think we're in a really good place. And if anything, it's just that left side just to shore it up and add a bit of cover for Amari Bell.
And Dylan, I'll come back to you about this. We've mentioned him a fair bit already. Peter Kioso obviously coming back for the Reading game in the absence of James Bree. Do you think that there is scope for him to go back if Bree's injury does ease up by the time the window slams shut? But do you prefer having him an out-and-out right wing back, sort of providing that competition for Bree at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's important for the club, for the squad to have that. Because to be honest, I didn't think it was sustainable having to play James Bree every minute of the season. It's too much. We need to manage his load. However, the caveat to that is Peter Kioso is a very ambitious young player. Now he knows that if he goes back to MK Dons, he is going to play every single minute of or not every single minute, but most minutes of most games, and that's good for him personally. But for us, it's good to have him around because then James Bree has some competition and cover, and we've got a bit of depth there. So it's just about how we handle that situation. I think if he's going to be here, we need to show him that he's a genuine option, because that does benefit us as we saw last night. James Bree, tight hamstring, rest him up. Assume James Bree comes back in for Saturday against Sheffield United, and Peter Kioso can come in and fill in. But Peter Kioso is behind James Bree, without a shadow of a doubt in the right wing back position. So it's a tricky one for us to manage because he's ambitious and we have our own ambitions and that's something that we have to solve really.
And any Luton fans that do have any questions, any comments about the January transfer window to ask to Ian or Dylan, make sure to get involved. As said before, we're on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, so make sure to get those comments in. Right, the next player we'll get onto is Elijah Adebayo, and quite rightly, not a player that's drawn quite credible links right yet. I think the wording of the story that came out from Chronicle Live was that there were scouts at the Fulham game just before Christmas, and a game that he performed very well in. So if, say, Newcastle, a Premier League club, do you think that there's scope for a Premier League club to come in for him this January, or do you feel that it's still a little bit premature, Ian?
Not this January. I think it is a little bit premature, but I think we need to be looking at replacements now, whether that's getting someone in that we can loan out or develop, because I think everyone is on the same page. I think he will go at some point. I don't think it's going to be this January. It might not even be in the summer. It might be the next following January. But I think we do need to look at some replacements for him. And I'm sure they are. I'm sure, they're savvy enough to know that there'll be people after him sooner rather than later. I think, is it Thismanga at Chesterfield? I quite like the look of him. He might be one that we could develop. He's free scoring. Maybe we'll loan him out again. I don't know. Depends how much he would cost. Yeah, it's just finding that rough diamond again, who didn't seem that rough at the time, but he developed so quickly in the space of a year. I don't even think Luton fans would have seen that coming, how much he's developed and how much he's developed since the beginning of this season. He's just gone from strength to strength in every aspect of his game, not just the goals. So, but touch wood, I hope it's not a last-minute pull out of the squad and he goes off somewhere, but I'm sure if he does, it'll be for the right money.
We've just got a comment here in from Steve Moore. If we are confident of keeping Adebayo once Musgrave is back from AFCON, is that a route for Hilton to leave? Obviously, Hilton not seeing too much game time at the moment. Had his heroics at Bristol City, but you'd still put a fair few forwards above him at the moment. So do you feel that there's scope for Hilton to leave should a suitable offer or should a suitable option come up for him?
Is that for me?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, keeping with you.
Yeah. For me, I love Danny Hilton. He's been such a good servant for the club. I think he deserves to be playing football. I know he loves Luton. I know he wants to stay. And I know he'll have some contribution at some point in this season. But I just think he deserves to be playing regularly at a half-decent team, and I think for me, now's the time for him to go. I want to be watching highlights on a Saturday and watching him scoring a few goals, So for me, I think it's about persuading Danny to go than anything else. But yeah, I think if a good offer comes in, he should take it. I know Bristol Rovers were after him a year back. I think that wouldn't be a bad option for him.
And there's been another comment that's come in from Harry, sort of echoing those thoughts that he believes Hilton is surely going to go to. And Dylan, I'll come to you about Hilton and the kind of level that he could expect to be playing. Do you think we could be seeing him in League One, League Two? Do you think that he still has what it takes to even, a club struggling in the Championship? What kind of level can you see him at should he depart?
League One, definitely League One. I think with Danny, for him, that's good for us. Then there's no problem with having him around. I think when he has played, he hasn't been bad at all. He's contributed, and the way we play, it's about our centre forwards, holding the ball and just getting us up the pitch, getting us territory. And I think he does that fairly well, and fits that how we play like that. And he's obviously loved here as well. So there's no rush to get him out. I'd have absolutely no problem with him staying until the summer and contributing because he's done well. But yeah, League One, he can definitely play in League One because he's played in the Championship this season and done reasonably well. And I think people are sometimes quick to forget that he really hasn't done badly this season at all.
And another player that you can sort of categorise into the same sort of fold as Hilton is Dan Potts, a player that doesn't really seem too close to the first team, and should a spot come in for him in the team, you would feel like we would need to strengthen. So is Potts on the similar kind of thinking to you, Ian? Would you see him sort of at League One level, League Two level? What do you think the next move could be for him should that happen this January?
Well, I mean, he's definitely League One, isn't he? I mean, he was on the bench last night, wasn't he? I think, again, he might contribute for us till the end of this season, but he's definitely a League One player. I think he could even play lower end Championship still. He's a decent player. He just doesn't kind of fit our system anymore. I don't think, we've gone for a more athletic type of player. And I don't know if we've kind of outgrown him. Again, he's another player like Danny that should be playing football, I think. I know he's not as much as a fan's favourite as Danny was, but, again, I think he deserves to be playing. And I think he's going to be one that goes under our next step of growth in our recruitment process. But yeah, definitely League One. I wouldn't be... Someone like Sunderland came in for him, that would be a perfect fit, I think.
Certainly. And another player that we'll speak about, Dylan, is Elliot Thorpe, a player that we probably regard in the same light as Dion Pereira in terms of in that sort of same stage of progression. So do you think we could see a loan spell sanctioned for a player like Elliot Thorpe? And again, what kind of level would we expect him to play at?
It's a tricky one because he's not played senior football before, so it's difficult to judge what out at. But what's clear is that he isn't ready to play in the Championship yet. Hopefully soon he will be, but he could definitely do with a loan move pretty soon. So it's difficult to say what level that would be at, or whether we want to keep him in house and work with him, and because we know how good our coaching setup is in terms of improving players. Elijah being the case in point. So that's a difficult one to answer because he hasn't played senior football, and we might want to just keep him in the building this season and get work into him, and then next season he has a loan somewhere. But obviously an exciting young player for us to have around our development squad in the first team, and someone who hopefully in the next 18 months or so we'll start to see on the fringes of the first team, like Dion Pereira, as you said.
And just to show, I did get the exact same question just as I was reading it. What level should and can Thorpe be loaned out to? So talk about very good time in there, Steve Moore. That's a very timely comment. But that is all we've got time for today. Big thank you to the pair of you for joining again. And as we continue to monitor what the rest of the January transfer window has in store for the Hatters. That's not all that we've got at Football League World TV today. Ben Wignall is back at 7 o'clock with Stoke fan Ben Rowley to go through all things Stoke City this January. Make sure to subscribe, like and share this video. And from us here, thank you